My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a local realtor with Keller Williams in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today, what we're going to be doing is giving you the market update for what's going on in Eagle River, Alaska. This is a kind of a larger market in the South Central Alaska area. It does have quite a bit of pull in the area, so we do watch it pretty closely, and we'll be looking specifically at the residential, the condo, and the multifamily market. Before we get started though, you know what to do. Give this video a like. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe. And without further ado, let's go and jump into today's market update. Now, the first thing that we see is that the number of properties that are available on the market on the residential side actually has decreased significantly proportionally. This time last year, we had about 53 properties that were on the market, which was really getting cut in half from the year before, so that was pretty dramatic. Now, in the month of January, there was 35. So that's an even further cut from where we were the year before, especially if you compare it to the previous years. That's a pretty deep cut. Now, despite the fact the inventory's been cut that much, the number of sold properties actually did maintain, because it was about 32 the year before. Now it's 31 for the previous month of January. So despite the inventory being low, still seeing the same number of properties selling. So that's promising. Now, what you would expect to see is the average sold price going up, and that is what we are seeing. We did see about a $20,000 increase year over day compared to the year before, because it was about $424,000 year before. Now, year to date, it's about $424,000. So, or I'm sorry, $444,000, I should say, which means that we have about a 4.68% increase year over day from where we were before. Now, that's really good, but the increase year over day for the previous year was about 8%. So we'll talk more about that in the summary. Switching gears, let's go and take a look at the condo market. Now, condos do not contribute a huge portion to the current market here in Eagle River. You know, that just isn't really the vibe of the town. People like having their own little residential space that they can go to. That's perfectly fine. Condos are becoming more and more an option for people in kind of the downtown Eagle River area or in some other areas down along the river. So that being said though, there were 15 condos that were on the market this time last year, and now we're seeing about 5 are available on the market now. So yes, big cut, not a whole lot to start with though. Next, we see that the number of properties that actually closed for the condos increased slightly. It was 2 the year before, now it's 3. Again, increased proportionally, great. Not a big pool to start with though. Now, the scariest number I'm going to show you here if you're a condo owner is that the average sold price actually has decreased by about 8.89%, if I remember correctly. So year to date, we're seeing that the average sold price was about $267,000. Now the average sold price for condos year to date is about $243,000. So before everybody gets scared out of your mind and starts doing a lot of crazy stuff, do keep in mind that this is year to date, and this is properties that are coming not from a very large pool. Okay, once we get larger pools of properties, it becomes a little bit easier to kind of predict stuff. This is kind of a smaller pool, so having a couple condos that are larger or smaller compared to the year before can really throw the entire thing off. So yes, seeing a decrease in there, not entirely unexpected though, or something that's surprising. It could go the other way where it goes super high. So it really just depends when you have a smaller pool. Let's take a break here real quick. For those of you who are considering moving up here to Alaska, do feel free to check out my podcast, Alaskan Journey. And that is going to be kind of showing you what it's like living up here. For those of you who are already here and you might be considering making a move, then certainly do feel free to download your copy of the free seller guide that I do provide for people. And to get your own copy, just go to my website. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. Just put in seller guide in the little comment section when you're registering, so I know what to send you, and I'll make sure that gets over to you. Now, let's go and finish today's market update looking at the multifamilies, and then we'll summarize everything for you at the end. Now, in the multifamily market, what we're seeing is that the number of available properties is maintained from the year before, but it's definitely way down from where we saw in previous years proportionally. Because in previous years, we'd expect to see about 8 or 10 multifamily properties available on the market. Now it's 2. So huge cut. just year over date, it's maintaining kind of that 2, but for an area the size of Eagle River, 2 properties is really not that much. I mean, it's not much anywhere, but it's definitely not much in Eagle River. The next thing we see is the number of sold properties that actually closed for the month of January was 1. The previous year, it was 2. So again, smaller pool, and we expect to kind of see those drastic numbers there just with being a smaller pool of numbers to work with. Now, this is probably the scariest looking graph you're going to see in this entire thing, and that is showing that the average sold price for multifamily properties in Eagle River has decreased by nearly 50%. Now, that sounds very, very scary, and keep in mind, we're not dealing with large numbers here, so it's really hard to know how to interpret these, but it just shows that the one property we did sell was about 200, just shy of 290,000, and the year before we did sell a couple around this time period, but average was about 560 odd thousand. So that's why we're seeing that. Not a huge reason to be concerned. And Eagle River continues to be a very desired location as far as investment properties go, because cap rate is going to be lower. So your odds of having to deal with a lot of issues, a lot of drama with tenants, it's not going to be really high. It's really kind of a quiet, not going to say quiet. It's more of a community that's going to stick to itself. And you're not going to have a whole lot of, let's say, extracurricular issues you have to go deal with if you're renting properties out. So that's really good. As far as the residential side, we are continuing to see kind of a decrease in the number of properties that are available. A lot of our sellers would sell, but they just don't know where they would move if they did sell their property, because they don't want to be on the reverse side of the equation in the transaction and find themselves suddenly having to compete with a lot of buyers. So we are seeing that that's probably going to continue at least for another year or so here. We are expecting, well, we're not expecting, the interest rates are going to be going up, which does mean that a lot of the folks that could barely qualify for a loan to begin with are going to start melting off, which is going to make it way less competitive in these multiple offer situations, because you can have 4 or 5 offers on your place, and who knows how many of them are actually like really qualified to do it, or if they just barely qualify even with the low interest rates. Once those people kind of start melting off a little bit, then we see that there's going to be less competition, and these prices are going to start softening up a little bit. And by that, I don't mean that they're suddenly going to, the bottom's going to fall out of the market and it's going to be a bubble. It's not going to pop, okay? Because it's not a bubble. We are adjusting for the market. And as long as people don't panic, really don't see any scenario in which the market suddenly collapses. On the condo side, it's becoming more prevalent. We need more builders who are going to be constructing them. And the problem is more the cost of building right now and kind of getting that condo market up and going. That's more the issue that we're running into. We do have some of the newer projects out behind Jitters and off the Old Glen Highway. So we do have those that are coming up, but the cost of materials is really just having an impact. So I sure hope this was useful for you. If it has, again, make sure you give this video a like. And if you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me either on my website, link for that is going to be down below, or Facebook or Instagram. Again, links for those are going to be down below. So we'll see you next time.